Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I'm Katie and welcome to another bookish adventure. So I wanted to talk about 5 authors that I really need to come back to reading. I have this strange thing when it comes to authors and I don't know really what it is. I went through phases where I would like binge read everything they had like written. Like in the case of Neil Gaiman, I went through a huge binge phase where I read a lot of his work. When people say to me, what's your favorite author? Honestly, I'm like, because there are very few authors I've actually gone back and read all their work or reread their books. So Neil Gaiman, I have read his books. I think Melissa de la Cruz actually are probably the only ones I can actually think of that I'm like, oh yeah, I've like read all of their stuff. Such a strange thing. So to start off with, number 1, Melinda Salisbury. Now she is the author of the Sin Eater's Daughter trilogy, which was one of my favorite reads. Oh my goodness, I absolutely love that series. And then the series she then came out with next, which I think was State of Sorrow or something to do with sorrow. Yes, definitely State of Sorrow. She came out with that series and I just wasn't sure. I don't know if I get a thing where I'm like scared that it's not going to be as good as the previous series, but upon reading it I just wasn't really sure if it was going to be my type of book. I don't know, it seemed a little bit more political, but it was only a duology, which did kind of make me think, actually, I don't know, maybe I do want to read this. So she does have a new book coming out and this one I'm really interested in reading and definitely want to read, and I keep going back and forth all the time as to whether or not I want to read State of Sorrow, but I think I have decided I do. But I think it was just that it was so different from the Sin Eater's Daughter, that's why I was so like, oh I'm really not so sure. So the next author is the queen of the fairy tales, Holly Black. So I have only just recently read my first Holly Black book, and that was in the last 2 years. I'm pretty sure I read The Darkest Part of the Forest. It was a book of the month on one of the groups that I follow on Goodreads, and I was kind of like, oh my god, finally, you know what, I should read myself some Holly Black. It is taking me so long. Holly Black is one of those authors like Cassandra Clare. She has been on my original TBR list before I even knew TBR lists were a thing. She was on there. Like, I found so many of her books, I was like, oh my god, like this is so good. And year after year I would always be like, oh yeah, that book sounds really interesting, that book sounds really interesting, and I would never get to her. And my friend has read her books and she's like, oh my god, they're so good, and I still don't know why I've not read them. I really don't. So I really want to read her new series obviously, but I do want to go back and read like the ones that I found originally way back when. I don't just want to read her current stuff. And I kind of thought once I read The Darkest Part of the Forest, that would really kickstart me into wanting to reading her work more, but for some unknown reason, here we are like 2 years later and I've still not read anything. Author number 3 is Kender Blake. Now she is the author of the Anna Dressed in Blood series and more recently the 3 Dark Crowns series, which I think she's a lot more well known for. So in my defense, I think I actually read Anna Dressed in Blood and its sequel, Anna Girl of Nightmares, quite close to publication, which is a very rare thing for me. So she actually went a very long time without there being any books published. 3 Dark Crowns, I think, yeah, was quite, I say quite recent, I mean in the last like 3 years or something. I think it was 2016, I think. So in my defense, she hadn't written anything. However, even though I read that there was something coming, because I loved her storytelling, I really liked those 2 books. They were just, it was really different from what I'd read and I like how she wrote. I didn't jump and wasn't like, oh my god, yeah, like I bought it. I think I have at least 3 of those books. I still haven't read them. So again, I'm not sure what sort of put me off, or just kind of, because Anna Dressed in Blood was a book that I feel like not many people had heard of. Is not a book I see very much on Bookstagram being talked about, whereas this series I'm always seeing. So I know there is hype, I know that it's been really well received and it has been very positively like reviewed, yet again I'm just like, okay, I'll just never read them. Author number 4 is Laini Taylor, who is most known for writing her Daughter of Smoke and Bone series. So that book was recommended to me by my friend Alice. Again, who else who recommends you books? And I did. I love that series. The world building, the characters, just everything, the whole idea of it was so cool. I love that it was set in Prague and I've been there, so I could like just visualize how beautiful it looks, and it was really cool. So then when I heard she was writing a new book and I was like, great, and then Strange the Dreamer dropped and I was like, oh, I do genuinely think that I was kind of put off by the sheer size of it. That book, like that hardback, is just huge, and I think quite possibly I was a little bit intimidated, and still am, I will not lie at all. And I do think that is part of the reason why I've been put off reading it, because I'm just like, oh holy shit. However, knowing that it is only 2 books does fill me with a little bit more confidence in the fact that okay, it is just 2 very hefty books. But yeah, I haven't jumped at the chance at reading them, even though I'm really excited to go back and read another amazing world that she's created, because I really just like her style of writing and I really enjoyed it and just everything. So I don't know why I'm kind of been a bit like, And the final author number 5, is Leigh Bardugo. So I of course have read Shadow of Bone. I've read that trilogy and I really enjoyed it. Again, I'm pretty sure another recommendation from Alice. However, I have had very little want in the way of continuing to read her Grishaverse, which I think is why I just haven't gone back. The next series that came, the duology, Six of Crows, just didn't really appeal to me. Alice read it and she was like, oh my god, it's really good, you should definitely give it a try. And lots of people I know have read it, actually like physical humans that I know have like read it. And of course, you know, the Grishaverse is just everything right now on Bookstagram, and of course a series is coming. Yeah, I don't know why, it just never really appealed to me. And then every so often I would go back and I would reread the summary, which I do this quite a lot with books. I'm just like, I really don't know, which is what I did with State of Sorrow. Every so often I just go read the summary and some more reviews and think, hang on, wait, what is this actually about? So I have decided that I do want to read it because I think I wanted to read the new ones that were coming. So King of Scars, I think I wanted to read that. So I was like, you know what, it's only 2 books, just do it, you idiot. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna put it on my wish list, and then I actually ended up getting it for Christmas. The last time I actually looked sort of just at the general Grishaverse, just so I could get my head around all the books that there are, because there is the original trilogy, then there is the Six of Crows duology, and then there is the new one, the King of Scars, and which I believe is duology. But then the last time I looked, the Six of Crows duology, there is now a 3rd book. So can someone please explain to me the 3rd book in a duology? Part of me also thinks that I might want to reread Shadow and Bone. I don't know why, it's just been a very long time and I don't have a lot of memory. Like, I have a memory of that book, but not a massive one. I don't know, I'm kind of undecided, but it was a series I really enjoyed and I really like the idea of it. And for a long time I've been wanting to get into books that don't have like the standard like sort of Western vibe. I want to have books that are based on other cultures and other religions and myths and vibes, especially after reading like Rebel of the Sands. And after I read Smoke and Bone, I was like, oh wow, like I really love having the like that influence in the writing. But yeah, I just don't know why I was never drawn back into the Grishaverse until recently. So those are my 5 authors that I really need to get back into. The only other author whose books I've been like, yes, I must read, is Sally Green, and she did the Half Wild trilogy, or is it Half Bad? I think it's Half Bad actually. But yeah, I just have this strange weird block on either I'm scared it's not going to be as good as the series I loved, or it just seems completely different and I'm like, oh, I'm not so sure now. But I'm trying to kind of eke myself out of that just really strange and weird way of thinking and being like, for God's sake, you do this, you will probably really enjoy these. If you like this video, then smash that like button and show me your thumbs, and comment below what authors do you have where you kind of thought, I love this book but I've never read the rest of their work, or I've been really unsure to revisit them. Please tell me I'm not the only one out there like this. If you're new, then hit that subscribe button, and of course ding the bell so you never miss a video. I hope you had a great weekend. What did you go up to? Hopefully, this is Saturday on day of filming, so hopefully on Sunday we will have watched The Irishman on Netflix, which is that 3.5-hour film. So yeah, I'm in for a time for that one. And this is all very weather dependent because I'm not actually 100% if we're getting another storm, because let's face it, like it's just been storm everything recently. So if it rains, then yes, we'll be watching The Irishman. Part of me's like, come on, like be really shit and rainy, because part of me really wants to watch it, and then the other part of me's like, I really want to go for a really nice walk in the woods. But part of me is really leaning, I really want to watch The Irishman. I hope you have a good week, and I will catch you on Thursday for another weekly reading vlog.